So we will start this model by speaking about what each effect does to our scene. So we'll start with the camera, and especially for an interior scene, there are some tricks and effects we need to use in our camera depending on the situation. So I'll go here to my render scene. I have this scene without any materials, okay? I just set up the custom materials like this, all white. Now let's go here. Okay, now let's go to our effects and add effect. Here on the second tab we have camera. On the camera we have handheld. Handheld is only useful if you want to take a vertical image, because if you take an image like this in Lumion, then you cut the image like this, right? You will crop it and you are losing some resolution. So what you can do is to add this effect and then you tilt it and see now you have much more space and it will be the full resolution, your image that you are rendering in. So let's now remove this and let's go to another effect, exposure. So the exposure effect, it's basically like in a real world camera. You can control, in a real world camera, you can control the aperture and exposure. So this allows you to bring more light inside your camera. So if you see here, if I increase this exposure, my scene will become brighter, you see? So it's basically, I'm allowing more light to get into my camera, okay? So if I decrease, see, it's completely dark. So let's leave this one for now here. Now, 2-point perspective. This one I use always when I have the camera more in a horizontal position, when I don't have any like shots like this from bottom to top or from top to bottom. This way I don't use this effect because all the lines are crooked. But if I use it, I can go back here. So like this, I have, see my lines, how they are all going to this direction. If I activate this, see all the lines, you can even see by this, all the lines are straight. The vertical lines are all straight, okay? So another thing is here, by the way, the focal length. Let's just increase. Usually I use about from 20 to 24, more or less. It really depends on the scene, but usually it's more or less like this. And let's say that, for example, I want this to be about 24. Then I have all white. Why? Because, let me just say this. Because my wall is covering the camera. What we can do to avoid this is go to effects. And now here on scene and animation, we have one effect called near clip plane. Let's select. And now basically what this does is cutting the walls, see? So it's cutting the walls, but in this scene, I want it to be more or less like this. So, okay, so now we don't have any more our wall and we have the focal length at about 24 millimeters. Okay, let's go back to the camera. Now here we have depth of field. This effect, it's only useful if you are taking a render of something in detail, you know, like very close, and you want to enhance that part of the render. Or else, if you activate for the whole scene, usually when you render fully, you'll see that the image will become a little bit blurry, and I don't think you gain much with it. But if you are, for example, let's say you're rendering this part, okay, let's see here, you set up the scene, the focal point here, the autofocus, and then you can control here in the foreground, background, so you can control all of these effects. So if you are taking, let's say this was the main area of focus, then it's fine. But if you are taking a scene like this, I prefer not to use the depth of field effect. Next one, let's see, chromatic aberrations. So this one, it comes, usually when you use the effects with Lumion, the predefined effects, it comes with this specific one, very noticeable, and I don't think it's really realistic. What I like to do is I increase the dispersion and then I leave this one as well maximum, but then I start reducing this one until I just see this in the edges. okay? See, now here we don't have, we just have on the edges. And then I go to the first slider and I decrease, see, until I just see a little bit around the edges. You can see a little bit here, a little bit, so it's not all around the image, okay? Okay, so this wraps up this lesson. In the next one, I'll show you what each effect in the Light and Shadow tab does and the best way to use them.